You're in a conversation and someone asks you a simple question. A normal person answers in 2 seconds. But you pause. Not because you don't know, but because your mind just opened 12 different doors at once, and you're trying to figure out which one leads to the truest answer. And in that pause, something happens. The other person shifts. Gets uncomfortable. Maybe fills the silence themselves. And you let them. Because the version of your answer you were building, the real one, was already too complex to explain anyway. If that felt uncomfortably familiar, stay right here. Because this isn't just about thinking a lot. What we're about to get into is something most people spend their entire lives not understanding about themselves. Here's the thing nobody tells you about being a deep thinker. It's not a skill. It's not even a choice. It's a different operating system. And when you're running software the rest of the world wasn't built for, the friction isn't in your thinking. It's in everything else. Psychologists have studied what separates surface-level cognitive processing from deep, reflective thinking, and what they found goes far beyond intelligence. Deep thinkers show significantly higher activation in something called the default mode network, a web of brain regions that fires up not when you're focused on a task, but when you're doing nothing. When you're staring out a window. When you're in the shower. When everyone else has moved on, and you're still there, turning the moment over in your hands like it's a puzzle only you can see. That network is the same one linked to creativity, abstract thought, self-reflection, and empathy. Which means the deep thinker's brain isn't just more active. It's more connected. But here's where it gets interesting and difficult. That same connectivity means you can't just experience something and move on. Every moment carries weight. Every conversation has an aftertaste. Every decision feels like it has 1,000 invisible consequences attached to it. Most people feel something and file it away. Deep thinkers feel something, and then spend 3 days understanding why they felt it, what it revealed, and what it means about who they're becoming. That's not overthinking. That's depth processing. And it's fundamentally different. Overthinking is fear running in circles. Deep thinking is meaning being assembled from scratch. Now, think about the last time you were in a room full of people and felt completely alone. Not sad. Not disconnected. Just somewhere else. Like you were watching it all through glass. That's not a flaw. That's what it feels like to observe life at a resolution most people never access. Deep thinkers see the frame around the picture. They notice what's missing from the conversation, not just what's in it. And that kind of awareness? It's a gift. But it costs something. And we're going to talk about exactly what that cost is, and why most deep thinkers carry it completely alone. Comment below, are you someone who thinks deeply? Or do you know someone who disappears into their own mind and seems unreachable? Tell me what that feels like. I read every single one. There's a specific kind of exhaustion that deep thinkers know intimately. It's not physical. It's not even emotional in the traditional sense. It's the exhaustion of never being able to turn it off. You finish a conversation, and it follows you home. You make a decision, and your mind immediately starts auditing it. You try to sleep, and somewhere between silence and darkness, your brain quietly reopens every unresolved question from the last 48 hours. Like a courtroom that never adjourns. And the cruel irony? The very thing that makes you extraordinary in quiet moments, that relentless need to understand, becomes the thing that makes ordinary life feel like running a marathon in slow motion. Here's what psychology actually says about this. Deep thinkers engage heavily in something called metacognition. Thinking about their own thinking. Watching their thoughts from the outside like a director reviewing footage. Asking not just, what am I feeling, but, why am I constructed in a way that produces this feeling at all? Most people never go that far. Most people stop at the surface of themselves. But deep thinkers keep digging, sometimes long past the point where it's comfortable. And that excavation, while profound, creates something painful. When you see yourself clearly enough, you also see your contradictions. Your blind spots. The gap between who you are and who you want to be. And you can't unknow it. You can't unsee your own architecture once you've studied it long enough. That's why deep thinkers are often simultaneously the most self-aware and the most self-critical people in any room. Not because they're hard on themselves out of insecurity, but because their standards are set by how clearly they can see the truth. Now, here's the part that might be uncomfortable to hear. Not everything that looks like deep thinking is. There's a line. A very real one. Between genuine reflection and sophisticated avoidance. Some people think deeply as a way of living more fully. Others think deeply as a way of postponing living altogether. They analyze relationships instead of having them. They dissect their goals instead of chasing them. They understand their fears in extraordinary detail, and then use that understanding as a reason to stay exactly where they are. Knowing why you're afraid is not the same as moving through it. And for some deep thinkers, the mind becomes a beautiful, intricate cage. Which version resonates with you? Be honest. Drop it in the comments, because I think more people are living in that second category than they'd ever admit out loud. But here's what makes deep thinkers genuinely rare, not just intellectually but emotionally. They don't experience feelings the way most people do. Research on what psychologists call affective depth shows that certain individuals encode emotional experiences with far greater complexity, weaving meaning, memory, sensory detail, and personal significance into a single moment the way others might experience an entire year. Which is why a deep thinker can hear a specific song and not just remember a moment. They re-enter it. Fully. Physically. With the exact weight of who they were back then pressing against who they are now. That's not nostalgia. That's a mind that refuses to let experience be disposable. And in a culture addicted to moving on to the next thing, the next scroll, the next distraction, that refusal is almost revolutionary. But it also means that deep thinkers grieve differently. Love differently. Recover differently. When something breaks them, it doesn't just break on the surface. It fractures through every layer. Through memory. Through meaning. Through identity. And when something heals them, it's not quick. But it's permanent. Because deep thinkers don't just process experiences. They integrate them. They turn what happened to them into something they carry forward, not as damage, but as understanding. That's the part people miss when they look at a deep thinker who seems quiet, or distant, or lost in thought. They're not absent. They're integrating. And that process, slow, invisible, profound, is how they keep building the most important thing they'll ever construct. Themselves. If this is landing somewhere real for you, hit that like button. Not for me. But because somewhere out there is another deep thinker who needs to find this video. And the algorithm only works when you do. There's a moment every deep thinker eventually arrives at. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with clarity or resolution or any of the things their mind has been searching for. It comes quietly. Usually alone. Usually after a long period of searching. And it feels less like an answer and more like a surrender. The moment they realize that understanding everything was never the destination. That the mind that was supposed to be their greatest tool had become, somewhere along the way, their most demanding master. And that the life happening outside their thoughts, a real, imperfect, unanalyzed, had been waiting patiently for them to show up to it. That moment is where the most important shift happens for a deep thinker. Not when they think better. When they finally learn to think less. Now, before you misread that. This isn't about becoming shallow. It's about something far more difficult. It's about trust. Trusting that not every experience needs to be understood to be valuable. That some emotions are meant to be felt before they're examined. That presence, a raw, unprocessed presence, is not a lesser form of intelligence. It's actually the highest one. Psychologists who study wisdom, not intelligence, not knowledge, but actual wisdom, consistently find one thing that separates wise individuals from merely intelligent ones. The ability to sit with uncertainty without needing to resolve it. Deep thinkers are brilliant at generating questions. The wisest ones learn to become comfortable living inside them. Because here's the truth about meaning, the thing deep thinkers spend entire lifetimes hunting. Meaning isn't found at the bottom of a thought. It's built in the space between thinking and living. In the conversation you stopped rehearsing and just had. In the relationship you stopped analyzing and just chose. In the morning you stopped narrating to yourself and just felt the light. That's where deep thinkers become something beyond intelligent. They become awake. And there's another dimension to this that rarely gets discussed. Deep thinkers struggle profoundly with being misunderstood. Not because their ego needs validation, but because connection, to them, isn't casual. It's necessary. They don't want someone to agree with them. They want someone to see them fully. Including the contradictions. Including the questions they haven't answered yet. Including the parts of themselves that are still under construction. And that kind of being seen is extraordinarily rare. Which is why deep thinkers are often the loneliest people in a crowded room, not from lack of company, but from lack of resonance. They can be surrounded by people who like them, and still feel fundamentally alone. Because likability is easy. Real recognition is something else entirely. So they become selective. Careful. They'd rather have one conversation that cracks something open than 100 that leave them exactly as they arrived. They don't collect people. They choose them. And when they do, when they find that rare person who thinks in questions instead of answers, who finds the world endlessly strange and endlessly beautiful, something unlocks. They don't just open up. They unfold. Years of quiet observation, private theory, unexpressed feeling, all of it suddenly finds somewhere to go. And it's overwhelming, for both people, in the best possible way. That's the hidden gift of the deep thinker that nobody sees on the outside. They don't just bring presence to a relationship. They bring attention, the kind that makes people feel discovered. Like they've been truly noticed for the first time. Because a deep thinker doesn't just hear what you say. They hear what you meant. What you were afraid to say. What you didn't even know you were communicating. And in a world where most people are half listening while composing their next response, that kind of attention feels like water in a desert. So here's what I want to leave you with. If you're a deep thinker, and something in this video has been quietly pressing against a bruise you didn't know you had, understand this. Your depth is not a disorder. Your slowness is not weakness. Your silence is not absence. You were built to see what others walk past. To feel what others file away. To carry questions that most people never even think to ask. That is not a burden to be fixed. It's a lens to be honored. But honor it by using it. Not just to understand the world, but to participate in it. Fully, messily, imperfectly. Because the most profound thought you'll ever have means nothing if it never leaves your mind and touches another life. And the most alive you will ever feel is not at the bottom of a thought. It's in the moment you finally stopped thinking. And just were. If this video found you at the right time, and I genuinely believe videos find people when they need them, subscribe. Because we go this deep every single time. And you deserve a space where your kind of mind is not just tolerated, but understood.